With you on our side, we can win this war. I'm not on anyone's side. I disgraced my people. So help me, Mark, and whatever that other kid's name is, stop the Empire.
Over the last 90 days, Mark's speed has increased 65%, his endurance 70%, and his strength 138%.
Way to make a fellow superhero feel inadequate. Glad it's not leg day.
You feel like trying out those new muscles of yours?
Sir, we have intense geological events all over the country.
Are you working with D.A. Sinclair? He turned people into monsters.
You don't waste people like that. You reform them. You killed Angstrom Levy. Should I lock you up too?
You know that was different.
Mark, we can be the good guys, or we can be the guys that save the world. We can't be both.
Kid Omni-Man is here!
He told me the O was for Oliver.
Cecil, I can never trust you with either Mark or Oliver's lives, no matter what.
Ouch.
Oliver, you gotta look out for other people.
You guys are in big trouble!
Oh, you want to call for help? Too bad.
You're outnumbered and outclassed.
And out of luck.
And now I say something. What are you hiding in here?
The White Room is for my protection.
Protection from what?
From you, Mark.
Is that all you got? I will never work for you again. We're done. It's time for a change.
In more ways than one.
You look amazing!
I don't know. Feels a little serious.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. They just dropped a brand new Invincible Season 3 trailer. There's a whole bunch of footage. A bunch of characters are back, so we'll break it all down. Of course, I'll be doing videos for all the episodes just like previous seasons. Be sure to subscribe to get them all. As you can see, it's coming at the beginning of February. We don't even have to wait that long. In probably the best possible news we could have gotten, there will be no break between episode 1 and the finale. Like, they're not going to do that weird mid-season break like they did during season 2. Everybody hated that. Couple really big things they're teasing during season 3. There's the Invincible War, which is a big arc from the comics. Obviously, Omni-Man, Prison Break, Battle Beast is back. He's also inside that Viltrumite prison with Alan the Alien too, so obviously all three of them are getting out. The other big thing that's going on this season is the return of Conquest, but I'm not expecting him to show up till like way later in the series. But the idea is that he will eventually show up. They show off Mark's new blue suit from the comics and tease his big conflict with Cecil. And obviously there's a bunch of other stuff going on here too. Like, they just tease a couple other subplots that are going on, like all the stuff with Adam, Eve, and a lot of other characters that they've already teased a little bit, like Powerplex, for instance, in that last big teaser trailer. There'll be a number of villains during season 3, but really like the major antagonist is still Angstrom Levy and everybody from the Invincible War, all those alternate versions of Mark from other universes that they also teased last season. All the stuff with Omni-Man teasing the whole Viltrumite war is much further off in the distance, so they're just like slowly setting that up. But just starting at the beginning of the trailer, working our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs, WTF moments from the comics. So they start showing Mark basically in his training montage since the end of season 2. That was his whole big thing at the end of season 2, is that he told his mom that he was going to train up so that he wouldn't lose control of his powers the way he did with Angstrom Levy. Because remember, at this point, he still thinks that he killed Angstrom Levy. There's a reference to that later where Cecil's like, "Do you think I should have locked you up for killing Angstrom Levy?" When really, the truth is, he's not dead. But it seems like the first half of the season is mostly just dealing with the aftermath of that. So like for at least like the first half of the season, he will still think that he killed Angstrom Levy, so he'll be living with that remorse. Couple of jokes here about him trying to lift weights too, with them using gravity, like manipulating gravity so that he can actually lift something that's heavy enough to build muscle. It's kind of like Superman trying to find a way to lift weights that are strong enough that would allow him to build muscle. Superman could do that, but like he'd have to be dragging planets around to do that. The reason why Donald says over the last 90 days is because it's only been 90 days since the end of season 2. There are a couple of different scenes of this huge battle against Doc Seismic underneath the Earth that they break up across the trailer that sort of lead to his conflict with Cecil and what's happening with the Reaniman. So it seems like in the first half of the season, there's some big attack Doc Seismic tries to pull across the entire planet because, like, you look at the map of the United States here, and they say there's seismic activity happening all over the world. And it sounds like Doc Seismic is trying to pull some big kaiju attack like the Godzilla movies where a bunch of them attack the surface world at the same time. Whatever's going on here, like there's some giant kaiju behind them that you can just see off of screen. But it looks like what happens here is the Guardians of the Globe go down, and at some point things get so bad that Cecil also feels like he needs some reinforcements, and he uses that to send in the Reaniman. So you notice the capsule like we saw during Season 1 when they sent them after Omni-Man. But the whole idea is the end of Season 1 they tease, the D.A. Sinclair had been upgrading them again. And this is a thing in the comics too, where like each time they remake them even stronger than before. So while Omni-Man was able to dispatch them during Season 1, they had already gotten to the point where they could actually hurt him, even though he took them down relatively easily. But the next time they come back, they're even stronger and so on and so forth. Each time they come back, they're just a little bit harder for Invincible to take down. And as they tease, he gets super pissed off because Invincible, Mark didn't know that Cecil was actually working with D.A. Sinclair. It'd been a secret that he'd been keeping since Season 1. All because Cecil has compartmentalized so much inside the Global Defense Agency, and the idea is that he wants to have some sort of contingency plan in case Mark decides to go evil. And now that there's Oliver on the planet, the threat of that is even worse because there's 2 Viltrumites. Which also becomes a big conflict between Mark's mother, Mark, and what they're going to do with Oliver, because Cecil just wants to turn Oliver into another potential weapon, basically just a tool to be used. Mark's whole thing with the Reaniman, though, is the idea is that these used to be people. Like, they'll probably get into this when we see them in episodes, but they used to be regular humans turned into these cyborgs. They got into that during Season 2 with the Rick's whole storyline where he was still dealing with the PTSD from what D.A. Sinclair had done, turning him into a Reaniman. Rick exploded his back. He has the mechanical hand with the weapon now because he lost it during the battle in Season 2. At the Guardians of the Globe, Cecil tries to give them the speech about how they can't always be really, really good people and save the world at the same time. This leads to the big falling out where he still has his old suit, and then eventually he decides to basically break with Cecil, like we're never working together again, and he decides he needs the new blue suit. This is also a big arc in the comics where, like, for a good long while, Mark was basically working on his own as a superhero, but also trying to help everybody else around the world. Like, he still tries to work with other superheroes. Next big storyline, obviously, is what's going on with Oliver slowly coming into his powers and trying to be a superhero just like Invincible. He names himself Kid Omni-Man. Remember, this is all about the redemption of Omni-Man, too. So part of the idea is it's kind of awkward for a little while. Like, oh, he told me the O was for Oliver, and he's got the O on his chest now. For those of you asking, if you haven't read the comics, the reason why his skin is still purple is because of his original race. Eventually, his Viltrumite cells will completely overtake his body, and his skin will start looking pink like other Viltrumites or like Mark, for instance. The whole thing with his race is they just have accelerated aging. Eventually, as he slowly gets to maturity, his aging will slow down though, and he will live for hundreds and hundreds of years, but not nearly as long as, say, like Mark or as Omni-Man, who, like a true Viltrumite, like 100% genetic Viltrumite, will just continue living forever. Not totally immortal, but functionally immortal, just the way their bodies age. But the minute they start breeding with other races, that decreases the lifespan of those progeny. This person that Oliver is attacking in the elephant-looking suit is literally called Elephant. He's meant to be a parody of the Rhino in the Spider-Man Marvel comics. He basically has the functional abilities of an elephant, like the same kind of durability too that the suit gives him, kind of like the Rhino's suit also protects him. Notice the practice suit that he's wearing is meant to look exactly like Mark's first practice suit before he got his Invincible suit. So like he's on the speedrun version of Mark's arc from Season 1 where he's trying to learn to become a superhero too and use his powers. And Mark's trying to deal with that. Like, we just did this with me. Like, I just went through this a couple seasons ago. Then he goes after the Mauler twins. The Guardians of the Globe help them out. In the way they talk about it, the Guardians of the Globe are like, now we have 2 Viltrumites helping us, Oliver and Mark. We're almost completely unstoppable. No villains on Earth can stop us. Just teasing the idea that what happens when you have an army of evil other Marks out there. That is essentially the Invincible War. So even though there's 2 of them now on planet Earth, and you have the Guardians of the Globe, you have all the rest of Earth's heroes, like Adam Eve is crazy powerful. It still might not be enough to stop the Invincible War. Then they tease Omni-Man's prison break from the Viltrumite prison with the help of Alan the Alien and Battle Beast. Everybody wondering if Battle Beast was going to come back. It's a big arc in the comics. I'm sure it's going to be awesome on the show. I don't know how far they're going to take this subplot during the season, because obviously he's trying to take him back to Thetis, and Thetis is so long-lived. He remembers the original Viltrumite civil war from way, way back in the true history of Omni-Man's family, and the big idea is that his family is a big part of this long-term Viltrumite war. Don't want to get too deep into that, but I will say that Omni-Man is a very important person within the society of Viltrumites, even though Thragg is currently the regent of that planet. Keep in mind, Thragg is just the regent, he is not the king or like the emperor of Viltrumites, meaning that there is a true heir to the throne of the Viltrumites out there. But that's a lot of endgame storyline, like we're talking the very end of the Invincible comics. Maybe they'll get there in like season 5, season 6, however many seasons they want to do the show. Next big new character, technically not a new character because it was a teaser for him in a previous season, but this person who's attacking Rexplode here, who looks like Duplicate, is actually her brother called Multi-Paul. He has the exact same powers as Duplicate because they got their powers from a family curse. One of the big differences being that he's evil, and that's why he's attacking Rexplode here. Cecil teases the White Room here, like, what do you need the White Room for? What do you need protection from? And he says, oh, from you, teasing their big fight where he activates the reanimate on him. This person with the red hood and the red gloves seems like a Daredevil parody character. Just padded gloves, not boxing gloves, but something close. This person shocking Mark is Powerplex. He's a parody of Livewire in the DC universe, or like the Shocker at Marvel. He'll be a minor antagonist in season 3 because he lost his sister during Mark's battle with Omni-Man in Chicago during season 1, and he blames him for that. But Powerplex is a superhero, like he's not a supervillain. Notice when he's shocking him, he's wearing his new blue suit too. So it's a good way of differentiating when stuff happens in the season in the trailer based on which suit Mark is wearing. When you see him fighting the dragon here with Adam Eve, that's Master Lu in his dragon form. He's a shapeshifter. The dragon is meant to be a parody of Fin Fang Foom in the Marvel Universe. When Cecil's new reanimate attack him, the sonic weapon he uses on him is also something they discovered the Viltrumites are weak against just because of the way they detect ultrasonic frequencies. And then at the Guardians of the Globe, he vows to never work for him again, setting up the big fight during the series, and the reason why he changes his suit to the blue one, like time for a change for a number of reasons, and boom, he's in the suit. With a little fourth wall break joke about how it's getting a little too serious, like, wow, it feels kind of serious here. There was a little bit of fourth wall adjacent breaking jokes during season 2 with them talking to the animator at the convention about how animation is done, meant to be a meta commentary about animation on the series itself, and a bit of an Easter egg for Ryan Ottley, who's also the person who draws the Invincible comics. They don't really get too deep into a lot of Invincible War stuff, so I think most of this footage is meant to be for like the first half of the season. Then what they'll probably do is release like a mid-season trailer with like all the rest of the footage from the rest of the episodes. The other big thing that's going on this season is the return of Conquest, but I'm not expecting him to show up till like way, way later in the series. But the idea is that he will eventually show up. But there's a bunch of stuff going on during the trailer. If there's anything you spotted or any Easter eggs or references from the comics that I didn't talk about in the video, write them below in the comments. What'll probably happen is we'll get a couple more trailers next month, just because it's not starting till the beginning of February. Because it is CCXP weekend, there's probably going to be a couple other big trailers. I'll try to do videos for whatever winds up getting released, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. I just did a much bigger video about all the recent Marvel canceled movies and TV shows that we just found out about. Click here for that, and click here for all my other Invincible videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.